current hot topic of discussion with my colleagues in the performance testing arena is the role of performance testing and the performance tester in an agile development lifecycle. The impetus for these conversations is almost always a feeling that these roles are trending towards irrelevance as organizations become more agile focused. Are performance testers really going the way of the dinosaurs? I don't think so, but they, along with their counterparts in agile development teams, must evolve so that they and the systems they develop can continue to perform optimally. Before we take a look at how they must evolve, let's examine why performance testing appears to be irrelevant and how it got that way in the first place. The symptoms are relatively consistent. Performance teams that were once the final gate before release are now finding themselves off of the critical path and sometimes off of the project altogether. How can this be? Is there something magical about agile teams and their methods that make the systems they build immune to performance issues? I don't think so. Instead, the reasons being given by agile teams are actually very practical. The way performance test teams do their work doesn't support the fast-paced, frequent feedback requirements of agile. Trying to fit a large-scale, system-level performance test into a 2-week sprint doesn't work. And getting feedback on system performance for the first time right before release to the customer flies in the face of why you're agile in the first place. Additionally, in many cases, the agile teams weren't heartbroken that they couldn't use the services of the performance team. More on that later. To understand how traditional performance test teams got to this point, we need to look no further than when the dedicated performance test team, dare I say center of excellence, came into its own in the heyday of Waterfall development. Performance testing traditionally takes place at the end of a development cycle on functionally tested and stable code in a production-like environment. Many performance test teams develop rigid processes and requirements to ensure the results they provided were meaningful. The process typically looked something like this. A project team requests a performance test with a minimum of 8 weeks notice prior to requiring results. The performance test team gathers the appropriate discovery information, and then the project team provides a functionally tested, stable code base in a production-like test environment. From there, the performance test team plans, develops, and executes the tests, and then delivers the formal test analysis back to the project team. Obviously, this just doesn't fit within the methods or spirit of agile development. To make matters worse, the performance test teams often built a wall between themselves and the project team. Their throw-it-over-the-wall process was often accompanied by thinly veiled threats of budget and schedule overruns if the development team dared to update code while performance testing activities were still being performed. This gives agile teams the motivation to rid themselves of having to dance to the performance test tune. While it may look bleak for the performance tester, all is not lost. There are many examples of development teams and performance testers that have successfully evolved the ability to produce high-performance systems in an agile environment. They are able to take a step back and look at the ultimate goal, a shift from the late-cycle performance test to a state of ongoing performance analysis. The key is their ability to determine what's missing and address it. Next time, adapting waterfall performance testing practices to an agile world.